gather round, feel the love come down. Blue elephant is strong.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So what we're gonna do today is I want to think kind of outside the mold. And we've done this a couple times before, but this time I'm going to use the Let's Resin tray mold. Now this is from their 3-tier tray, and then these flower molds and this pumpkin mold. And first thing I want to do is I am going to dust over these molds with mica powder. Now, not the tray mold, just the flowers and the pumpkin. And the reason I want to do this is twofold. One is in particular for the pumpkin, I want to get that green on the stems and the leaves and all of that good stuff in there without having to either paint it on afterwards or do UV resin or any of that nonsense. And then the second reason is when you use mica powders, you get that kind of design that it puts in as it cures. And you guys know what I'm talking about. I just want these to look flat. Like, I don't want them to have that design in there. So we're going to go over it first. And I'm just kind of picking out some colors that I want to use. Now I want to go fall colors. I want to do kind of like the maroon plum colors along with my oranges and my greens. So for this, with the exception of one mica powder that I'm using by Rolio, we are going with the Let's Resin micas. Now this is from their 60 count set. Maybe see if we can get some kind of shading in on that pumpkin. Not sure if it's going to work, but we're going to see. But first what I want to do is I want to go through and I'm going to do these flowers up, and I'm just kind of, I flicked some of the plum in there and then I went over them with maroon. Now with the sunflowers, I'm going to try and with this excess kind of maroon color that I have, go along the outer tips of those colors and just see if I can kind of get a little bit of a different color on the tips of the sunflower. Not sure if it's going to work, but we're going to try. And then we're going in with orange, and we're just going to kind of leave it at that. Now with this one, I am going in with the darker orange, and then we're going to go in with a yellow behind it to see, again, if we can get that kind of color change in our flowers so that we have something different to look at. And as I kind of do this, I'm going to bounce off here real quick, and I'll be back when we are done for the next bit.
Sunflowers standing tall under the autumn sky. Pumpkins in every patch, it's fall and we feel alive. Family laughter fills the air, he rides through fields of gold. Wagon wheels rolling slow, these moments never get old. Fields of sunflowers and pumpkins, golden leaves and fun. In the fall breeze we are whirling together as one. Children's voices echo loud as we run through this land, holding tight to these days, together hand in hand. Scarecrows guard the roads with a friendly crooked smile. Every corner of our hearts filled with joy for miles. Fields of sunflowers and pumpkins, golden leaves and fun. In the fall breeze we are whirling together as one. Fields of sunflowers and pumpkins, golden leaves and fun. In the fall breeze we are whirling together as one.
All right, I'm back. So now we're finishing this up. Now we're going to go, and I have mixed a bunch of resin. I think I did about 12 ounces. I know the tray takes almost 10, and I wanted to have a little bit left over, just enough for the flowers. I don't think they're going to take quite 2 ounces, but it'll be fine. So I divided it up into a couple cups. Now, what I want to do is, if you have never kind of worked with a dusted mold before, and I'm not talking with chameleon powders, I'm talking with actual mica powders, you know that it's way, way different as far as what color you're going to get if you are using mica powders instead. So what I want to do is I'm going to go with the main color that I am using for these, and I'm going to mix that in. So for these, the sunflowers and these other flowers, I'm just going to use a little bit of the maroon. And then for the pumpkin, I'm going orange. Now, I'm not worried about it as far as the leaves and stuff go. It'll be fine. I don't want to do clear. I don't want to do white. I don't want to kind of change the color that the mica powders are. I want them to be what they are. So that's why we're kind of doing the colors that we're going. Now, I'm not using that color changing one. I'm just using the straight orange for this. And that is because you're not going to see it anyway. So it'd just be a waste. I did go and kind of along like the lines of the pumpkin. I went in with that darker color just to see if maybe I can get some shading in there. I don't know if it's going to work. We'll have to just wait until demold to see. Okay, so I've mixed up the two colors. I don't want to do my green yet, just in case I may need a little bit more of either one of these. Don't think I'm going to, but I don't have to mix up more resin if I don't need to. And I'm going in and I'm just kind of filling these ones halfway right now. And then I'm going to take my dotting tool and I'm going to make sure that I push the resin into all of these little petals so I don't have any air bubbles in there. And then I'm also going to go around the middle where the like stamen or whatever they're called are of the flower and make sure that no air bubbles get stuck there because it is textured. So I don't want to, give any places for air bubbles to hide. Not super crazy worried about me getting the mica powder and like scraping it off because I'm using the same color behind it. So it's not going to matter. And then for this pumpkin mold, now this is very detailed and it has a bunch of undercuts where the mold actually goes down into, like, it goes deep into it, like for the stem and the leaves and stuff, so that it's more 3D'd and it pops out. So I am taking care to make sure I go in there kind of slow at first, spreading that mold open to get the resin to go in there, and then making sure that I push it down and get any air bubbles out before I fill this mold up the rest of the way. So as long as you take your time and do this, I've never had any issues with this mold. I've used it several times over the last year, and I love it. It's, I don't know, fondant or chocolate mold, something like that, but I absolutely love this mold. I think it's super, super pretty. Now going in with the sunflowers, and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to go, and these have like a double layer of petals, so I need to make sure that I am going into that first layer and then go into the second layer and push that resin in each set so that I don't have any air bubbles trapped in there before I fill it up. And then fill it up, hit it with a heat gun, and we're just going to be done with this for now. And then we're going to move on to our tray. Now, I'm not going to lie, when I was doing this tray, my initial thing was I just wanted a green. That was it. Just going to be straight green, not doing anything with it. And then I I kind of had a crazy thought and I went with it and I didn't think about it necessarily. Um and I'll show you here in a minute as soon as I'm done mixing up this green. Now this is a lovely green. I absolutely love this color. I think it's Let's Resin's olive green. Absolutely beautiful. And I'm not like super worried about it being super, super opaque. Like it is. Now you can see the stick just a tiny bit, but I think it'll be fine. This is what I decided to do. Now, why in God's name I had this thought and I thought this would be a good idea, I'm not entirely sure. And as I was doing it, my brain was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? This is not the right thing to be doing. But I kept going, and we're just gonna have to see if it turns out, or if I just made a ginormous mistake in doing this. My thought was I wanted something along the edge of it. And at first I was gonna do, like, I thought glitter or maybe dusting it with another color, but no, I decided that I was just gonna pour this maroon resin in there and go with it. So that's what we're doing, I guess. And we're just gonna see how it turns out. Now, I am making sure that around the edges and those corners of this tray that there's no air in there, and I'm just going to move it around as needed, hit it with the heat gun, and let this cure. All right, so 24 hours later, now it's time to see how big of a mistake I made. So we are just going to demold this real quick, like, and I'm a little nervous, I'm not going to lie, because, you know, I just, there was no forethought to that whatsoever. I just kind of did. And if I can hurry up, we will see how this turns out. So, my first thought was, it's not fall, it's Christmas. And I was kind of hating it at first, but we're gonna just keep on keeping on with it. See how these flowers and this pumpkin turned out. Now, I think the flowers turned out really pretty. I get the color that I was going for? Not necessarily. We do have some different color variations in the sunflowers, not so much in these little maroon ones that I did. Now, the pumpkin is the pumpkin, and like I said before, I love this pumpkin. I think it's great. So, now what are we going to do with it? I mean, it's a tray mold. I can make it as a tray, but I decided that, I could have put the flowers on the edges, kind of like I did with the elephant tray way back when, but I want to do something different with it. So I don't necessarily, it doesn't have to be a tray, but it could be. Do you know what I mean? So we're just going to kind of put this in the middle. And then I kind of started thinking about it for a little bit, and I want to do something that makes these flowers and this pumpkin stand out a little bit more and just give it a little extra something. So I decided I'm going rhinestones. So I'm taking my diamond glaze, and for the pumpkin, they're more along the lines of like a brownish colored rhinestone. I didn't have any kind of orangey, like darker orange, because that's what this is. So we're going to go with the brown, and I'm just going to go through and I'm going to put it in kind of like the creases of the pumpkin. And then we're going to do the same thing with the flowers. Not as many, but we're just going to kind of deck them out and make it a little bit more interesting to look at. I'm going to hop off as I go through this because it takes a minute and I don't need to talk through it. You can clearly see what I'm doing. And then I will be back for the last steps of this tray.
Elephant is strong. Together we belong. In every comment right, you lift me to new heights. Your support, it's clear, gives me reason to cheer. Blue Elephant Crew, this one's all for you. You make dreams come true. With everything you do, each subscriber's heart playing a vital part. Videos we share, showing how much we care. Likes and shares, they grow. You make the channel glow. Every single view, I owe it all to you. Blue Elephant Crew, this one's all for you. You make dreams come true. With everything you do, playing a vital part. Videos we share, showing how much we care. Blue Elephant Crew, each subscriber is one all for you. This one's all for you. Make dreams come true, make dreams come true. With everything you do, everything you do, you do.
All right, I'm back. So as you can see with the flowers, I just kind of went around the middle of it on the kind of outer edge instead of going with the petals. And now I'm going to get my gold paint pen and I'm just going to go along the edges of the flowers just to give it a little bit of highlight, brighten it up just a tad bit more. I'm going to do this with all of them. And then I'm also going to go along the leaves of the pumpkin with a little bit of this gold again, just to kind of brighten it up and add a little bit more interest to this piece. And then we're going to put it all together. Now, I really like this, and could it be used as a tray? Kind of, sort of. Like, we're going in the middle with the pieces, and you could use either side maybe for some pillar candles or something like that, as long as it's got like a glass base that you have the candle in and you could set them there. You could do, wrapped candies, stuff like that. You could actually utilize it as a tray, or you could just use it as a beautiful just piece, like a centerpiece on your table, or just a decorative piece to look at on maybe like a plate stand, something to that effect. I honestly, like, at first, I was really worried after I demolded the tray that I was going to absolutely hate it because I was not liking it. But after I got it all together, like, I am really happy with it. I really like the way that it turned out. I think the colors just kind of go. Would I do it again in these colors? As far as the tray goes, maybe not, but I do like overall how it turned out. Like, I really do. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I love the rhinestones on there. They do add that extra something that this piece was needing. Just catches the light and kind of brightens it up and gives it just something more to look at. And I just took some E6000 glue and I'm gluing all of these pieces on, and that's pretty much it. That is a wrap on this one, guys. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I will catch you guys on Tuesday in the next one. Love ya. Bye.
Blue elephant is strong. Together we belong. In every comment, right? You lift me to new